Welcome back to the podcast. Today we're diving into Law 8 of the 48 Laws of Power, a law that's all about positioning, patience, and psychological control. The title? Make other people come to you. Use bait if necessary.
This one hits different because it's not aggressive. It's not about domination. It's about stillness with strategy. Power doesn't always chase. Sometimes it waits and pulls.
That's it. This law flips the usual narrative. In a world obsessed with hustle and pursuit, Green says, hold your ground, make others move toward you, and when they do, you're already in control.
There's a subtle flex here. It's about leverage. When someone comes to you, whether to negotiate, to ask, to apologize, to collaborate, they're entering your frame, your space, your terms.
And that frame shift is everything. Because whoever moves first often loses positioning. The one who reacts is already behind. So Green says, create a scenario where others make the first move, even if it means baiting the situation.
That word bait can sound manipulative, but let's unpack it. Bait doesn't mean lying or deceiving. It means knowing what the other person wants and placing it just far enough that they have to reach. And in reaching, they give you power.
It's about designing desire. If you understand what pulls people, status, money, ego, access, you can engineer attraction. You don't chase the deal, the attention, the opportunity. You become the magnet.
And that's where the real power is, when people start adjusting their plans to include you, when they wait for your answer, when they seek your approval. That's not by accident. That's strategy.
And the key to making this work? Discipline. You have to resist the urge to chase, resist the fear of silence. Power grows in the pause, in the confidence that if you've built value, people will come, if the positioning is right.
This law is psychological warfare. It plays on urgency, curiosity, uncertainty. People hate not knowing. They hate waiting. And when you become the one who can wait, who doesn't move first, you instantly become more powerful.
So if you're always the one reaching out, checking in, making the first offer, you're giving away leverage. Sometimes silence is the most powerful move in the room. One of the best historical examples Green uses for this law is from ancient China during the Warring States period. A general named Han Xin lured his enemies across a river by appearing weak and retreating.
Classic bait move.
Exactly. Once the enemy crossed the river, he struck hard, while they were disorganized and exposed. The point wasn't brute strength, it was pulling the enemy in on his terms. That's Law 8 in action. Don't chase the fight. Position yourself so they bring it to you and walk right into your trap.
That's brilliant. And it applies today just as much. Think of job interviews. If you're the one begging for the opportunity, you've already lost half the game. But if you've built demand, built presence, and they come to you, now you're in control.
It's the same in business. The brand that everyone talks about doesn't run ads begging for attention. It creates mystique, exclusivity, buzz. The customers come to them, not the other way around.
And this applies to personal dynamics too. The person who's always chasing validation, always texting first, always trying to prove their worth, eventually loses respect. But the one who holds their ground, who knows their value, they attract effortlessly.
Because the key here isn't just stillness, it's magnetism. People don't just come to you by chance. They come because you've created pull. Maybe it's confidence, maybe it's mystery, maybe it's a sense of value, but it's intentional.
And here's where the bait comes in. It's not about deception. It's about knowing what they want and showing just enough to make them move. You don't give it all away. You hint, you suggest, you leave gaps they feel the urge to close.
That's strategy, and it's powerful in negotiation too. The first person to throw out numbers, to make concessions, to act too eager, they usually lose leverage. But if you stay quiet, composed, let them speak first, you gain ground without lifting a finger.
And the moment they take the bait, the moment they move toward you, the energy shifts. Now they're playing your game. And if you've prepared for that moment, you win without force.
So if you've been feeling like you're always chasing, always pushing, initiating, convincing, Maybe it's time to flip that. Start thinking, how can I create conditions where people come to me?
That's the shift. From pressure to pull, from pursuit to positioning.
Let's bring this into the everyday. You don't have to be a general or a billionaire to use Law 8. It works in the workplace, in relationships, in social settings, everywhere people interact.
Absolutely. Let's say you're in a corporate environment. You want a promotion. Most people beg for it, drop hints, overperform hoping someone notices. But a more powerful move, you build undeniable value, and then you wait. You hold your position. You make them offer it.
Yes, you document your results. You stay visible but not desperate. And when the time is right, they're the ones asking, what will it take to keep you? That's power. That's presence.
Same thing with networking. People think the key is chasing every contact, emailing everyone, following up aggressively. And sometimes that works, but the elite networkers, they position themselves so that people are drawn to their energy, their clarity, their value.
And how do they do that? By being excellent at something, by sharing insight without asking for attention, by becoming known for something, and then staying just out of reach enough to be intriguing.
Exactly. It's a combination of visibility and restraint. You show enough to attract, but not enough to eliminate the chase. That's the bait Green talks about. It's not a trap, it's an invitation, but on your terms.
Let's talk about relationships, romantic, platonic, whatever. Law 8 is gold here. If you're constantly overgiving, over-explaining, over-pursuing, you kill attraction. People value what they have to reach for.
That doesn't mean playing games. It means having self-respect, knowing your worth, being willing to wait, even when waiting feels risky. Because you're not trying to win people over, you're letting them realize your value on their own.
And the more patient you are, the more powerful you become, because patience signals confidence. It says, I know what I bring. I don't need to chase. I'll be here, but you'll have to meet me where I stand.
That's hard in a culture obsessed with speed. Everyone wants instant results. But Green reminds us, power is often built in silence, in the waiting, in the moment before you speak.
So, if you're always the one initiating, sending the first message, offering the discount, lowering your value to get attention, ask yourself, am I moving because I'm powerful or because I'm afraid of being forgotten?
Because sometimes stillness is the most commanding position you can hold.
Let's go deeper. There's a psychological weight behind this law. When you stop chasing and start holding space, people feel it. They sense that your energy isn't scattered, it's centered. That alone changes how they approach you.
Exactly. It's presence without pressure. And that kind of presence creates gravity. It's the energy of someone who doesn't need to prove themselves because their value is already self-evident.
And people are drawn to that because it's rare. Most people are broadcasting all day long, trying to be heard, seen, validated. But when you hold silence, when you don't rush to fill the space, you become interesting, even intimidating.
And that's a form of power. When your absence speaks louder than someone else's presence, you're in control of the dynamic. They wonder what you're thinking, why you haven't replied, whether you're watching or completely unmoved.
And here's where it gets dangerous. Not everyone can handle that kind of power. Some people will project, chase, obsess. Others will get angry. But all of that means one thing. You've taken control of their attention.
And once you have their attention, you control the frame. You decide when to speak, when to engage, when to close the gap. They're leaning in. You're not.
This is why Green emphasizes patience. You can't rush the bait. You can't break the silence too early. Sometimes the most strategic move is to let discomfort do the talking for you.
And it works even in leadership. If you always answer immediately, always give access, always explain, people get used to it. They stop respecting the boundaries. But when you pause, when you say, let me think about it, you shift the power.
It's the art of being slightly out of reach, not inaccessible, but never fully available. That gap creates tension, and tension creates desire.
And here's the twist. You don't even have to do more. You just have to stop doing what weakens your position. Stop over-explaining, stop over-offering, stop being too eager to close.
Because when you chase, you shrink. But when you hold still, grounded, observant, selective, you grow in their eyes. That's not ego, that's strategy.
And once they start moving toward you, asking, inviting, trying to re-engage, you have options. You can accept, decline, or renegotiate. But whatever happens, you're choosing it. You're not reacting, you're deciding.
That's the difference between playing the game and being played by it.
Now, let's be honest. Like every law in this book, Law 8 has its risks. If you take it too far, you can cross into arrogance, coldness, even irrelevance. Waiting too long can make people move on. Holding back too much can make you invisible.
Exactly. This law isn't about refusing to move. It's about knowing when not to. Timing is everything. There's a fine line between being magnetic and being forgotten.
That's why we always say power is dynamic. It's not about following rules blindly. It's about reading the room, reading the person, reading yourself. Sometimes you wait, other times you strike, but only when the odds are stacked in your favor.
And you'll only know when to move or not if you're detached from urgency. That's the real core of Law 8. Power doesn't panic. It doesn't rush. It waits, watches, then acts with precision.
Let's be real. Most people can't handle that. They need constant feedback, constant validation. They fear silence. They fear not being chosen. But power? Power doesn't beg to be picked.
No. Power chooses. It creates conditions where others compete for access to it. And when that happens, the dynamic flips. You're no longer trying to win. They are.
But you have to earn that. You can't fake presence. You can't pretend to be valuable. You have to actually be valuable. That's what gives your stillness weight.
It's not passive. It's composed. You've done the work, built the identity, clarified your positioning, so when you pull back, it means something. People feel it. They notice.
That's the difference between silence and absence. One is forgettable. The other is felt. And Law 8 is about creating the kind of presence that's felt even when you're quiet.
And that requires long-term thinking. You can't just use bait for short-term wins. You have to build a foundation that makes people want to come to you again and again, not because you tricked them, but because your value is undeniable.
It's the same in influence. The most powerful people are the ones who don't chase attention. They attract it through consistency, through clarity, through calm confidence.
And here's the truth. The person who moves second with control often wins because they've seen the field. They've gathered data. They let the first move reveal the other side's hand.
So don't rush. Don't react. Create space. Use silence. Let your value pull instead of your voice push.
And when they come to you, be ready. Because that moment, when they step into your frame, is where power is seized or lost.
So if you take one thing from this episode, let it be this. You don't always need to move first to win. In fact, many times, the first move is the one that gives away your power.
Real strength is knowing when to pause, when to observe, when to let others reveal themselves before you step in. That's not weakness, that's control.
Because control isn't about volume, it's not about presence, it's about positioning. And when you position yourself correctly, the world starts shifting toward you.
Here's the hard truth. People only come to you when they perceive value. If they're not showing up, not responding, not pursuing, maybe it's not time to push harder. Maybe it's time to rebuild your gravity.
That's what this law is really about, creating enough pull through clarity, energy, mystery, value that people want to come closer. And when they do, you meet them on your terms.
But don't get it twisted. This isn't about ego. This isn't about superiority. It's about power with discipline, power with patience, power that doesn't perform, it commands.
And if you're listening right now thinking, I've been chasing too much, it's okay. That awareness is your pivot point. From this moment forward, ask yourself in every interaction, do I really need to move first here? Or is this a moment to hold and let the game come to me?
Because the truth is, not moving is also a move. And often, it's the move that changes everything.
So here's our challenge for this week.
Pick one situation where you've been overreaching, professionally, socially, personally, and pull back, just slightly. Stop chasing, stop pushing, create space, and watch what comes to fill it.
And if this episode sparks something, drop a comment. Share this with someone who needs to hear that their stillness has value, that their energy doesn't always have to chase to be felt.
And don't forget, subscribe so you don't miss next week's episode, where we'll break down Law 9, win through your actions, never through argument. Trust us, that one is essential in the age of internet debates and empty noise.
Until then, stay composed, stay magnetic, and remember,
Power doesn't always chase. Sometimes it waits and lets everything come to it.